They gotta hit the button over there first.
Sounds like you can hear other ones over his. So
We're
maybe
good
just
now?
got lucky.
Okay.
So,
I'll call the meeting of the Biglake School Board to order so that all members are here and accounted for. First, we'd like to approve the agenda. If anyone has a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Nygaard,
Second.
second by Scales. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we have retirement recognition for Brad for his 36 years of service to the district. So, I don't know, Alan wanted to say anything, or?
Let's just say as I walked in, that's right away, he came to me.
Right away?
I had a lot of questions.
My mascot. So, did you want to say anything?
Sure, I can,
Okay.
yeah. Brad hired me about 2 years and 2 months ago. I still remember that day, getting that phone call. I was actually going out to eat with some coworkers in Farmington, telling them all about this interview process that took like an hour and a half. And it was like 50+ questions. They go, wow, what in the world is this all about? And Brad called and offered me the position. And since then, he's been an incredible mentor, a friend. He's very well known across the community. A lot of community directors have been asking me a lot about what he's up to, what did he do on his first Monday off, and not squad to work. And, I just want to say thank you, Brad, for being such a great mentor and helping me get to where I am. And, you know, there will be a lot more phone calls and questions as we get going here, but thank you very much.
My phone is always on. Give a call whenever. Yeah, I want to thank everybody. It's been truly a venture, a journey. Yes, you're right, 36 years in Biglake, but a total of 44 years in education. And so, quite a, I mean, when you are younger and you're going to plan your life and this is the things you're going to do and want to do and everything else, and things really change as the road travel continues to go forward. I was a quiet, the oldest of 8 kids, large farm boy out in western Minnesota that all you wanted to do was go to college and become a biology teacher. Had no sports background whatsoever while I was in school. Did 2 years down in West Bend, Iowa. $6,000 and an extra $1,000 to coach basketball. So I took it and got down there, moved my family and got down there, and basketball started to come around towards the season to get ready for it, so boys basketball, junior high, 7th and 8th grade. Yep. Well, you also have girls. I said, what? Yeah. We're doing the boys and the girls. Is okay. And then it was Iowa style, in which it was 3 and 3, in which these 3 only had to learn offense and played on that half of the court, and these 3 only had to learn defense and played on that half of the court.
Wow.
And it was 2 dribbles and pass. So it was pretty simple. I mean, so that was 2 years in a Catholic school and a K-12, the only male in the system, and everybody came to me to deal with all the discipline problems, and then moving into Hancock for 6 years in public school, and again taking a job there, and go, but you're also going to coach, and I go, okay, what am I going to be coaching? You're going to be coaching volleyball. Again, didn't have any clue volleyball was about. But ended up coaching volleyball at Hancock, coaching girls basketball at Hancock, and also had softball at Hancock. They wanted to start a softball program in my second year there, and they come to me and go, "We want you to be the head coach." I go, I don't know softball. I mean, I have no idea what it is. But I coached the head softball there for 4 years, and you know, we had a pretty good seasons and so forth. And so, and then coming to Biglake, science teacher, and then I remember the interview with Daryl because at that time I had a small, you know, my 3 kids were born. The youngest was just 1 year old, and I'm coming from western Minnesota, in which out there districts were declining, teachers were being laid off, districts were combining. You know, you had during that time all the schools in which they were separate schools, and then they all of a sudden became like bold, and because that was made of 4 different school districts and all of that. And so at the interview here, my main thing I pounded home was, what's the future like here for me if I come to Biglake? How long will I be able to stay in Biglake? You know, are you growing? What are you doing? Back then it wasn't really growing at all and everything. And sure enough, you know, 36 years later, we're still here. The district has grown immensely. The community has grown immensely. And it's been, like I said, a great journey. And I want to thank all of you and for your support and everybody else. What did I do on my first Monday off? I slept until 9. Because I didn't go to bed real early the day before. What the heck?
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's been fun. Like I was just saying, we're walking in. It's kind of like the vacation, and now the retirement is starting to set in. Going, okay, you know, this is the end of the second week of it, and so. But I have a little list of things, and keep going from there. So thank you very much.
Okay, on to open forum, but we didn't have anybody call in for open forum. So we are moving on to the consent agenda. The previous minutes, claims and accounts in a total of $3,352,823.20. Credit card report, personnel report, fundraisers, and amendment to employee handbook relating to Title IX updates. We want to remove anything or make a motion?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Scales, second by Hegstrom.
Extra.
No, oh, it's been a long day. Okay.
I thought she was gonna call you Peggy. Keys on the brain.
Any other discussions or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to donations.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion by Hedstrom,
Second.
second by Brown. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to the financial report. Angie.
All right. Good evening. So we'll give you a brief financial report tonight, and John will have you go on to the next slide. Gave you an update on enrollment, so I thought I'd give you another update a week later. That's changed a little bit for the good. So, I think last week I mentioned that we were maybe estimating about 60 short, but we've added some kids within the last week, so that's good news. Again, still approximating maybe 50 students short. There is quite a few variables there. I mean, this is a guesstimate at this point. Tuition students, PSEOs, sped co-op programs, so just thought I'd throw that out there, that there are some variables out there that estimating, but I think right now it's pretty safe to say we're gonna be short. But trying to remain positive. We may gain some more kids here in the next week and a half, but it could be worse. I think I'm hearing of other districts that are quite a bit short, with families homeschooling or going to online schools. So I think it could be a lot worse. Unfortunately, it's not here. Biglake Online, 534 enrolled as of 3:15 today, I think I checked it. 534 and 21 are new students, because I think last week that number might have been 17, so actually have gained 4 more. And kindergarten as of this afternoon is 224. Just gave you some figures in the past, last year 237, and then 18, 19, 224. And kindergarten is short, less than what we expected, because we thought around that 235 plus the 14 transitional kindergarten students. So our theory is that, and I think I might have mentioned this last week, is that we believe kindergarten parents just might be waiting a year with the unknown with the virus. So talk a little bit then about the 2021 budget. No formal budget revisions for approval, but as we've been talking about our enrollment, we do project it'll be short. Our staffing is being reviewed due to that projected enrollment shortfall, and just want to emphasize in talking with Amber this afternoon, no layoffs, because that's one of the things we talked about. But we might have open positions that we're not hiring. So we're reviewing, that's what I mean by when we're reviewing staffing. I do know there was 2 positions in the budget that we've not hired for. So when it's all said and done in our fall staffing, everything's finalized. We've had some extra PD, but a lot of that can be covered by CRF funds. I'll talk about that later. So we're trying to do everything we can right now due to the projected enrollment shortfall.
On that note,
Yeah.
I mean, we also have 534 less kids that are going to school on, so does that mean our class sizes are gonna be lower than quite a bit then, as far as the?
Well, I do know some staffing has had to be shifted to support Biglake Online. But I do know that they are, when I say they, I know David, I know John, you've been involved a little bit. So I don't have any principals. Are the in-person, are they
I can
lower?
say at the middle school that most of our sections are kind of in the mid to upper 20s because we have reduced the number of sections, and those that were freed up are then supporting the online program. So our numbers are sitting pretty well.
Right.
Keep in mind though, if there's 28 on a roster for a particular hour, half are going to be at home and half in person because of hybrid. But
Right.
we've been able to kind of reduce based on the numbers kind of shifting and going to online.
Well, I can maybe talk a little bit about high school, because I met with Doc a little bit earlier today. He said that they're collapsing some sections in order to provide some content area support for Biglake Online. So giving a couple science teachers some sections of online students to help out and mentor through things. So there will be some reduction in sections, which would probably keep the student count roughly similar to what's been in the past.
And I know in elementary, the numbers I've seen, and I'm looking at Teresa, but I believe they're even lower than what they normally have been.
Yep, about 19 to 22, and then we're utilizing our nice big classrooms to space them
To
out.
space out, right?
Then we have 2 classroom teachers that are covering our Biglake Online families right now, and we're gonna do it as a family unit. So if you have a kid in kindergarten and 5th grade, you're gonna have the same Biglake Online teacher to help your family.
And I know the numbers I've seen for independents are the same. I'm seeing, the in-person, the class sizes are lower. But we've had to shift some to support Biglake Online.
It's true.
So hopefully that answers your
So
question.
basically, we're having to staff for the 3,120 because we are teaching whether they're here or they're in the
Right.
online program.
Right, exactly. Especially providing that support for Biglake Online.
Right.
And we'll talk about that in a couple slides. Want to talk a little bit further about the CARES Act, CRF, and Sherburne County, and I'm calling all three of those sources COVID funding. So if you go on to the next slide, this is just a reminder, because it has been a couple months probably since the board has seen this. So this was the original budget that was approved back in June. And so the unassigned line under the general fund, just a reminder for the board, projecting, if we go over that 641,182 deficit that's projected in the general fund unassigned for an ending fund balance a little over 6 million. I do anticipate that deficit may increase a little bit just because of the shortfall, but when I do a fall revision, we'll get a better idea then. But just want to make the board aware. Enrollment is, of course, a big concern right now. Go on to the next one, John, go ahead.
Yep.
And I'll talk a little bit further about the COVID funding. So I talked a little bit about this last week. They're called the Corona Relief Fund, or CRF funds. This was a blessing. The district's going to receive $766,686. Very flexible in how we can use the funding. Basically, any COVID-related costs that are not accounted for in our current budget. So all our PPE, the technology we've had to buy, all of that can be covered under this funding. The cost must be reasonably necessary as a result of COVID-19. The application is due October 1st. I will have that done by October 1st, I can assure you of that. And the funds must be spent by December 30th of 2020. I don't see any problem using up those funds.
No, is that, excuse me, is that dependent on our student body count, the ADMs?
This was allocated based on student body count. So
Okay.
all districts basically received an allocation based on that,
Right.
on our body count.
So as our student body numbers change, that number will go up or down?
They used I think
Oh.
they used last fall's
Okay.
numbers.
So it's
So
set.
it won't change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we've talked about the second bullet, the CARES Act funding. We knew about that early on, $258,679. We have 2 years to spend that. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend the CRF funds first, because that has to be spent by December 30th. And then we'll tap into the CARES Act funding, because, we might have costs next year.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know.
But you've already applied, or you still apply for it, you're just gonna.
We're applying for both.
Yeah, and you're just gonna put that off in the kitty, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, the CARES Act application's not due, it's not due for a while. I'm gonna
November,
concentrate on
right?
CRF first.
Well, can you use these funds for past things that we've already purchased? Like we had to purchase additional computers and things like that?
CARES Act, we can actually go back to last year, and we did spend a little bit last year, and I did account for that. CRF is from July 1st on.
Okay.
So yeah, all these technology purchases that we've had to make,
So you probably have,
we
Spent
will
most of it.
spend that. We will spend that,
Okay.
yes. And then lastly, Sherburne County, so districts, and actually, Mark, I know you attended a meeting there yesterday. So districts, so yes, we are one of the districts that have applied for COVID, I think it's COVID relief funds, I'm not sure what they're calling it, from Sherburne County. We have applied for approximately $85,000. They are supporting social emotional learning, and these funds we have to spend by December 1st. And David actually completed the application, has been in contact with a person from the county, and we will have no problem spending those funds by December 1st. He did tell me this afternoon that, yeah, we've applied and the application is still in process. And one thing I just wanted to briefly talk about too, I just want to go back to the CRF funds and the CARES Act funds, the first two bullet points. So Schools for Equity and Education, or C, put out a document on average per, I call it average per student or average per ADM of CARES and CRF funds. So Biglake on average, well, I'm sorry, Biglake is going to get about $340 per student when you take those two funds combined. State average is $464. And the reason for the difference is how they allocated the CARES dollars. And I know we talked about that at previous meetings, that some districts got more, some got less, because they meaning MDE did allocate those funds differently based on the surveys that were sent in last spring. But, you know, when I look at some of our neighboring districts, some are less, some are more, there's just kind of no rhyme or reason, I guess in my opinion, for these CARES dollars. But I just wanted to let you know, we're getting $340 per student, but state average is $464. And the reason is the CARES Act money, not the CRF, because the CRF was allocated based on your students. Okay, I guess that was it. I don't have anything else for tonight, unless the board has questions for me. Or Amber, if you wanted to, I know we talked this afternoon, if there's anything,
No, I mean,
anything I forgot?
No, I just, you know, you covered it. Like, the one thing I really wanted you to touch on was that we're not cutting anybody right now.
Right.
We're just looking at not refilling positions that were open. I think that's important to note, so.
Right, right.
Does that include people like cafeteria monitors and, you know, not teachers necessarily, but other staff?
If every position is being reviewed. So, but realize with COVID, there's some positions we do have to fill. So,
Right.
I mean, because we have to keep our students and staff safe.
Mhm.
There was a lot of resignation there on that, I saw in there
Yeah.
too.
Right, we did have a lot of reservations. So, I mean, that gives you some options anyway.
Mhm.
It's when you're reviewing, you know, what positions you will or won't fill, but, yeah, I mean,
But we're
More
fortunate, we are gonna be able to keep our class sizes low, I mean, even
Yeah.
lower, you know, and still support Biglake online.
that's what I was gonna say, with the staffing that we have, at least, you know, we can really do, you know, focus on that social distancing and stuff like that.
Mhm. All
Okay,
right.
any other questions for Angie? Okay, so we just need a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
Moved by Nygaard. Second. Second by Brown. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to approving the student handbook.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as the two assistant principals come up to give a brief overview, I did have an opportunity to meet with the assistant principals earlier in July, but obviously since then, between then and now, a lot of things have changed. So at that time, we decided to delay the approval of the handbooks until as close to the school year as possible, just to reflect the most accurate information. Tonight, they're going to give just a brief summary. Again, they provided a document of just the changes, so that you have that as a summary, any updates that are on there, and but they're going to take it from here. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm going to start us off. We are updating schedules, I think, by the minute, so there might be a few tweaks as we continue to finalize things, but right now we have a draft right in there.
And then we did some updating on school closings and distance learning. So we added a statement, it's on page 7 of the handbook, just basically saying that when we have inclement weather, now we can actually have students go online for that. And then another section about distance learning, just that information can also be found on our website. So we hope to have that linked as well. And then, let's see, we did also update our procedures for transportation, just updating the different start times for Liberty and the high school being together, and India and the middle school. And so those start times are reflected on page 11 for that.
On page 12, we got guidance from Nadine about how to update kind of our illness and medication protocols. And then also she added a section about COVID, about kind of symptoms to look for and the ones to stay home for.
And then on page 14, we just did one little language change. It's under cell phones and electronic devices. We added the word personal in there because there are devices that are obviously owned by the school and students bring in their personal devices. And so we just added the word personal twice in that section so that they know that's what we're referring to as far as keeping them tucked away unless there's permission. And then on the next page we have the technology acceptable use. We added a statement, basically it's just saying all district technologies are intended to be used for educational purposes only, and that's what's stated in the policy as well. Under dress code, every year we seem to have dress code changes, and some of the stuff, when we made some pretty drastic changes last year that seemed to work district-wide, but a couple things got left out just kind of through the course of modifying the information. So we added a couple of bullets, just trying to make things kind of standard, saying no undergarment showing, no transparent or see-through clothing. And then in one of the bullets where it talks about inappropriate or obscene messages, what was left out last year, just kind of by accident, was anything containing any sexual content. And that did come up a couple of times this year, so that's necessary to have that in there. And then the last bullet we added, just basically due to COVID, all face coverings, masks, face shields, gaiter, scarves must be school appropriate and are subject to administrative decision. And our reason for adding that to the dress code section is just anticipating maybe some will come with, I mean, it's all about the mask now and what kind of style they're getting, and there's also gonna be some logos and phrases that we're gonna have to watch for, I'm sure, so.
On page 16, under the racial, religious, sexual harassment and violence, we got guidance from Sue, the HR manager, and really added some more details about if there's an issue occurring under Title IX.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, for sexual harassment, kind of who to contact. So we got some guidance with that and added some more specifics to that area.
And then on page 18, under the high school specific guidelines, under student parking, for this year, the parking fees are being waived, so there's a statement in there regarding that.
And that's to really encourage more to drive so our busing can handle some more. And then on the last page, on 21, we added a section in there about food allergies because at the elementary level, we're really eating breakfast, lunch, and snack all in the classroom. So we're really gonna be vigilant to really help, you know, families and parents feel comforted about being safe with food allergies in the class. We deleted a section in here about student treats because we're really working to have not sharing of food to really help our students be safe. And we also took out our elementary Hornet grid because with our new PBIS initiative at Independence and at Liberty, we're making new ones, and so we'll add those new ones this coming year. And those were the majority of the changes. Do you have any questions for us?
I'm a little sad because I remember even going to school and bringing treats in, you know, that was like the best part of the day, you know? And then you always tried to outdo the other parent, of course, right?
It is a big deal, but we're trying to be creative about like bringing a book for your class and really we'll make it special in another way. But I agree, it is tough.
Anybody have any questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So we just need a motion to approve those changes.
So moved.
Moved by Sixberry,
Second.
second by Edstrom. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to the superintendent's report.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I have a couple items for you this evening. We did meet last Friday for our weekly meeting with the county. It appears as though across the county, the other schools are following a similar model or the same model as us, maybe broke up a little differently and not necessarily AA, BB or those type of things, but it does appear as though they are both are all hybrid in the secondary and face-to-face in the elementary. We are anticipating a similar score. As a matter of fact, today I just got a report online that whereas last Friday we were at 14.48 in terms of our score, this Friday, or today was updated, is at 13.51. Still falls within that range. I do think that'll take a little bit, but it is declining a little bit. So it's going down not quite a point, but over time, hopefully, with fewer cases, we'll eventually get down to that maybe face-to-face for all of our students. But like I said, I'll just keep updating you in regards to that. I did also attend a regional support team. They used the resource training and solutions, all of the regional EXUs throughout the state and cooperatives throughout the state to navigate some of this. This was a state meeting where it was orientation to a support system that they're still building, but they wanted to let us know that they're there to help us support us through this whole process. Our kind of go-to so far has been through our local county public health. But they also there's another rung of support with the state is going with. They've got another resource being developed. It's a learning model portal, that they will have available next Tuesday. But again, they're building some of these things as they go, as we move forward. So once that comes out, I'll be communicating that out, and that will be a communication piece. TJ did go to Resource Training and Solutions and picked up the mask and face shields that was part of the executive order today. So it appears as though we have all of them. They're on a big crate in the district office, so we're going to prep those and get those distributed to staff. Also, it was mentioned that the saliva test for all employees will be available soon. They will be sending superintendents or the coordinators URL codes, so they'll be able to access these tests. More information to come. I don't have a lot of directions on how that all works, but what I did learn was that if you have a W-2 in the school system, which all of you do, you will receive a test. So you will have a saliva test. So that's how that's being distributed.
60% accurate saliva test.
I don't know. I don't know that, but I do know all the employees will be receiving those.
What's the frequency of testing?
In regards to.
Is it like just once at the beginning of the year or every
Oh
month?
no,
No,
they're
it's
as you need it.
As you need it.
Yeah, they don't.
So
It's
if you
not
come in
a.
coughing, you're spitting in a cup, buddy.
It's not a screening. It's meant to be if you feel like you should, then you have that. That was what the commitment was. Dan, you had a question. You were.
That was my question.
That was your
So
question,
You're
yeah.
not doing mass testing.
It's not a
just-
mass screening, no. And actually, I had an email. I get correspondence from our community members too, some of those type of things as well. And I said, no, that's not what this is about. This actually is for the employees, and they can choose. They may not choose to use it, but that's how it's being distributed. So. A couple teacher PD days. As you recall, we did adjust the calendar this past month, I think it was actually this month, and the teachers came in for extra 2 PD days yesterday and today. From what I'm told, things were pretty successful, very busy, which is good, and it's a good use of that time. And it's always nice to get kind of a jump start on the year because next week, believe it or not, it's back to school, open houses, and all of that, and here we go. It's game on. 4 days next week, starting next Monday. So I'm excited about that, and hopefully we'll get to see some semblance of some normalcy coming soon. So what, did I say something wrong?
Well, not next week, they're not back to school.
No.
Yeah.
Back to school workshop for the teachers are back. I'm sorry. So all those community members, don't send your kids next week. No. September 8th is the first day of school. Sorry. Back to school workshop. Gloria, you got that? All right. Just want to make sure. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for clarifying that.
Q was the 4 days.
Well, actually, and the truth is I'm so excited about this next one. I have not attended an activity or an event since February, a school activity. And today I went for a walk and watched some JV tennis. And after this meeting, I'm going to watch a girls' soccer game. So I'm excited about that. It looked like there was a decent crowd watching the JV tennis, and I'm excited to take in some soccer this evening. So again, we're kind of off and running, some of those things that are kind of what we're used to seeing, so I'm super excited about that. But last but absolutely not least, I just wanted to thank the board as well as any employees that offered condolences to me and support for the past couple of weeks. So I just want to thank you publicly for that support. It means a lot to me. Even though you don't know me very well yet, it's very much appreciated. So thank all of you. So, and with that, that ends my report, unless, of course, there are questions.
Any questions? Okay, then I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Scales.
Second.
Second by Hay. No, I can't say your name tonight.
Peggy's Pizza.
Yeah, I know, that's true.
I think she has pizza on the brain. I'm not kidding.
Here you go,
All
here you
in
go.
favor?
There you go.
Aye, opposed,
Aye.
motion carries.